I woke up to banging on my door 6:30 a.m., a Saturday morning. I was groggy, half-dressed in boxers, and barely able to think straight when I stumbled to the door. I cracked it open, and standing there was this woman, hair too blonde to be real, dressed in a cheap blazer that screamed power trip, and her face twisted like she'd just bitten into a lemon. "You need to move that boat right now," she shrieked, cutting me off before I could even say good morning. Behind her was this clipboard, big, thick, and official, looking like she was about to issue me a citation for something serious. She slapped it down in front of me, and I swear, if I didn't know better, I would have thought I was being arrested. I stood there, blinking, trying to figure out what was going on. "My boat," I muttered, still half asleep, still trying to put the pieces together. She didn't even hesitate. "Your dock? Your dock," she scoffed, a laugh that sounded more like a cackle. "This is community water, and that boat's violating Section 12.3b of the Homeowners Association regulations." And just like that, she slapped a bright orange sticker on my boat like it was a criminal record. You'd think it would end there, but no. This was just the start of something I had never expected. See, I'm Nathan, a 39-year-old graphic designer. I moved into this peaceful little neighborhood by the water in Oak Ridge, Florida, after my divorce. The kind of place where you could sit on your dock, sip coffee, and watch the sunrise without a care in the world. It was supposed to be a fresh start, a chance to just breathe again. I didn't think twice when I saw the small dock attached to the property, just big enough for my old fishing boat, 14-foot, nothing fancy, the kind you'd take out for a few hours and just drift. I called it Lazy Sunday and painted the name on the side myself. That was my little slice of heaven, where the world slowed down just for me. And then came Dana, the HOA presidentaire, at least, the woman who thought she was. "You have 24 hours to remove that unauthorized watercraft," she declared, her voice all authority. "You'll face a fine of $500 per day if you don't comply." Now, I was still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I was being yelled at over a fishing boat, but Dana's face said it all. She wasn't looking for a conversation. She was looking for a fight. I asked her for clarification, but it was like talking to a brick wall. "I've lived here for 3 years," she said, looking at me like I was an idiot. "I know the rules better than anyone, and that boat? It's in violation." She didn't care that the dock came with the property when I bought it. She didn't care that I had all the paperwork proving it was mine. In her eyes, I was the problem. And just like that, she made it clear this wasn't about some HOA rule, it was about control. I went back inside, trying to shake the feeling that this wasn't just about a boat. Something felt off. But instead of moving the boat to avoid drama, I made a call to my ex-wife Rachel. We stayed friends after the divorce, and she's a property lawyer. If anyone could explain these HOA rules, it was her. I told her the whole story, and when she heard the fine, the threat of a $500 violation, she didn't even flinch. "Nathan," she said, "something about this doesn't sound right. Bring me your property deed and HOA docs, let me take a look." Rachel came over later that afternoon, flipping through the documents with that lawyer look on her face. After about 10 minutes, she pushed the papers aside, looked me in the eye, and said, "Nathan, your dock is completely legal. You own that waterfront." She pointed to the property survey like it was a smoking gun. "That dock's been there since the house was built." Then she dropped the real bombshell. "And Dana," Rachel smiled wryly, "she's not even officially the HOA president. She just decided to appoint herself. This whole thing is a power trip." It hit me like a ton of bricks. Dana wasn't just messing with me. She'd been terrorizing the whole neighborhood, acting like she ran the place. I was done being pushed around. So, I decided to confront her head on. The next day, there was a community meeting called by Dana. As soon as I walked in, I could feel the tension. Dana had set up a projector, standing in front like she was about to give a TED Talk on community rules. She had a PowerPoint presentation, complete with a slide showing a photo of my boat circled in red like I was the criminal mastermind of the neighborhood. When she started her presentation, all I could do was stand there. She was going on about community values, respect for shared spaces, and all the usual HOA nonsense, but I wasn't listening to the words. I was looking at the people in the room. I saw a few skeptical faces, a few people who'd had enough of Dana's leadership, and I realized this wasn't just my fight anymore. I stood up, walked to the front, and spread out my property deed for everyone to see. "This is my property," I said simply. "I own this lake. The dock, the boat, it's all mine." The room went dead silent. You could practically hear a pin drop. Dana's face was a mix of disbelief and fury as I laid out the eve. Why, Danke? Your claims about community property are false. The lake? It's not shared. It's private, and it belongs to me. I could see Dana's face going through the motion, first red, then purple, her mind scrambling to make sense of it. But instead of backing down, she doubled down. Even if the dock is technically on your property, boats still need authorization, she shouted, her voice cracking. We need to maintain the community standards. I didn't let her finish. That's not happening, I said, cutting her off. There's no community standard here, Dana. You don't even have the authority to impose rules. You're not even the HOA president. You appointed yourself. And now, we're going to do this right. I turned to the room. I'm calling for a real election. We need leadership that represents this community, not one person's delusions of power. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck as Dana tried to salvage her authority, but the room had turned on her. The whispers started. People started pulling out their phones to document the whole thing, and even the few people still loyal to her were starting to waver. The meeting ended with Dana making one last, desperate attempt to impose new, ludicrous fees on everyone. All boats will need to pay a $2,000 monthly dock fee, she announced, her voice trembling with false confidence. But before she could get any further, the room erupted. People were done with her. When Dana finally left, her so-called power in tatters, I knew the fight wasn't over. She might have lost the battle, but I wasn't naive enough to think she'd just walk away quietly. I went home that night, feeling a strange mix of triumph and caution, because I knew this wasn't just about a boat. It was about power and who had the right to use it. The next few days were quiet, but I could feel the storm brewing. Dana wasn't done, and she wasn't going down without a fight. She put up fake signs around the lake, hired some kid to act as security, and even called the code enforcement on me, hoping to get the county involved. But it was too late. The truth was out. And that truth? It was beautiful. So here we are. Sunset Ridge is finally at peace, and the community has come together. Real leadership, real rules. As for Dana, well, she's gone. But the lesson is clear. Power isn't about control. It's about responsibility. It's about doing what's right, even when people like Dana try to take it from you. Now, as I sit on my dock, watching the sunset over the lake that I own, I can't help but feel a little proud of how things turned out. But I also know it's a story that's far from over. So, what do you think? Was Dana just a power-hungry control freak? Or was I in the wrong for not backing down? Let me know what you think in the comments below. What would you have done in my shoes? And don't forget to like and share this story if you believe in standing up for what's right. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.